The new Game Plus mode for God of War is approaching, or maybe it's already out by the time you watch this. No, I sadly don't know when it's coming out, but it has to be soon. What I do know is how you can prepare for this mode that lets you replay the whole game, but with all the gear and skills you already collected. So let's get into it. Of course, this video contains spoilers for the end game of God of War. Yes, you're still here. Okay then, if you enjoyed that, then a like would be super appreciated, and let's go. In the official blog post that got up a few minutes after the New Game Plus announcement at E3, it was noted that New Game Plus won't be a sunny stroll through Midgar, and that the difficulty will be harder than a regular normal playthrough. Obviously, the fact that you have an upgraded Leviathan axe at the start with the best armor sets and all the skills unlocked as well will totally help you feel more powerful, but I think that we can say that the enemies will likely have some extra strength as well, so that's why it's handy to prepare yourself for when this mode gets released. Of course, there are some obvious things like finish the main game, upgrade both the Leviathan axe and the Blades of Chaos to the final level. I made a video on how to do that. If you haven't already, I put a link in the description down below so you can check it out if you want. Get all the skills, of course, as well, upgrade all your runic attacks. But there are also some things that you might have overlooked, like fully upgrading the quiver from Atreus so you can shoot 4 arrows with the square button. I think that will totally help you when replaying the game, shocking the enemies faster or weakening them with your blue arrows. For the New Game Plus mode, you want to be the best that you can, so I totally recommend that you get to level 9 by fully upgrading your favorite armor set. And I say favorite because I don't really think there's like one best loadout in particular. It kind of depends on the situation as well. I, for example, rock Ivaldi's Pauldron of Deadly Mist as the chest, also the gauntlets of the Deadly Mist, and then the waist guard of the Valkyrie for a very balanced strength defense build with also a ton of damage from the runic attacks thanks to the nice amount of runic. And you likely know the power of the waist guard of the Valkyrie that gives you a high chance to get the blessing of the runic when you do a runic attack, and that blessing of the runic increases the runic power. Upgrading them all to level 8 and also having the Shattered Gauntlet of Ages with 3 high level gems was enough for me to get to level 9. This is totally my favorite armor set. I can do every activity with it without a sweat. I also used it to kill the Valkyrie Queen. And yeah, it was still a freaking pain, but in the end it was totally worth it, and I think that it's totally something you want to do before the New Game Plus mode if you haven't done it already. Not only because you learn some extra things about the story from God of War, but of course you get some nice loot as well, like this axe pommel that increases the power of your axe throw and recall, might come in handy against the tougher enemies in the New Game Plus mode. No, but also because you can sell the helmet from Sigrun for 100,000 gold. And that will very likely come in handy in the New Game Plus mode. Armor in God of War requires Hacksilver to craft, so it's totally possible that just like in Horizon Zero Dawn, Sony Santa Monica adds new gear for us to collect in the New Game Plus mode, and even if they are just better versions of the gear pieces that are already in the game, you still want to get those. So already having some Hacksilver before you start the New Game Plus mode will totally come in handy to give you a head start. So yes, the Valkyrie Queen will help with a money problem, but otherwise just do some Niflheim runs as well, so you get a lot of Hacksilver in no time, because again, I totally think it will come in handy, even if it's only for the Resurrection Stones during your travels. If you followed the channel for a while, then you know that I covered the Horizon Zero Dawn New Game Plus mode as well, and there it was really handy to have a lot of money before you started this new mode, because they also insanely increased the prices for the new armor sets on the new ultra hard difficulty. So all these new armor sets in the New Game Plus mode look the same, but they all had an extra mod slot, so you totally wanted to get them again. And I can totally see God of War do something like that as well, that maybe you got the same base stats, but then they got an extra gem slot, so it will still be worth it to get. Having some nice gems is of course also great. Make sure you got the good ones to make the Shattered Gauntlet of Ages Talisman do the special ability. That will totally help you a lot. You're likely familiar with this, but if you are not, there's a link to that video in the description down below. I also recommend you get some of the best runic attacks that require some endgame grinding. For example, the Bitter Scroll runic summon that you can find over here on the map in the Light Elf outpost. It will give you a lot of health orbs or rage orbs depending on the arrows of your son. So if you have the blue arrows active, you will get the health orbs, and the yellow arrows will give you the rage orbs. I kind of switch between the Scroll and the Murder of crows myself. The murder of crows like stuns a group of enemies so you can deal a ton of damage. That would totally be good to get as well if you don't have that already. Again, a video in the description down below. Meteor Slam is a great example of a runic summon that you kind of need to grind for. It's a very good AoE attack that deals a lot of damage for a short period of time and can totally come in handy during the New Game Plus run. Unlocking it requires some Muspelheim runs, but again, I think it's totally worth it. Although I don't think you can use it at the beginning of the New Game Plus mode, because I'm not sure if you will already have the Blades of Chaos. Likely not. The blog post notes that you will not have all the items to open doors, for example, and the screenshots we got from the New Game Plus mode do not include the Blades of Chaos as well. So we will likely get them when you reach that point in the story, and that is also interesting for the Squirrel summon, because Atreus will likely get the blue and yellow arrows also later during the playthrough. So what will that mean? Like, what will that summon dig up then? What I also thought of was that the lack of the Blades of Chaos at the beginning will likely mean that the Talisman of the Unbound potential will be a really strong choice, because it resets the cooldown of your runic abilities. And if you can't switch weapons and use the other runic attacks in the meantime, it might be handy to be able to reset the cooldowns of the axe abilities instead. You can buy the talisman in the shop, but again, I have a whole video about it and I put a link down in the description down below. So yeah, make sure you're still a powerhouse without the blades. I think it's just totally smart to pick up the controller again anyways. Do some Muspelheim trials, some Niflheim runs to get some money as well, but also to get a feeling for the combat again if you haven't played it in a while, so you are fully prepared for when the update hits. And when it does, I will of course be all over it, so totally subscribe if you haven't already to be the first to know about the New Game Plus mode, tips and tricks, and way more. How do you prepare for the New Game Plus mode? Let me know in the comments down below. Drop a like to support the channel, check out my recent God of War video with some interesting news, and I will speak to you next time. Goodbye.